Hey, what's going on, folks? It's Mike here, and welcome to the next lesson in the SDL2 C++ series. In this lesson, I'm going to actually be bringing in a user-submitted comment, so make sure you do comment, subscribe, and like, because sometimes I make videos based off of your suggestions. And in this case, I just wanted to do something a little bit different where I show you a little bit of a live code. Haven't practiced this, you'll just have to take my word for it, on how to actually build the SDL2 TTF library from source. Because eventually there might become a day where these libraries aren't released, at least the actual builds. Now, there are usually nightly systems that do these types of things, but it might also be a good skill to have as far as building for your particular platform. So let's go ahead and just see how I work through this problem and go ahead and get started. So how I'm going to start this search is searching for, SDL TTF here. And if I spell it right, that's the best thing to do. And we will see that the first result here is from the GitHub here. So this was what somebody was looking for, and we can see the actual source here. Now it does look like if I take a moment to look at the index of the project releases, there are still some releases here. So if you're working on Windows, Mac, and these sort of things, this could be handy for you. So let's go ahead though and just do this from scratch, figure this out together, and see how things work. So I'm going to go ahead and need to copy this repository here. But before we begin, let's go ahead and just look at the different lessons that I had here. And one of them was fonts here. I'm just going to make a copy of that. Let me do copy 14 fonts. And I'm just going to call this 14.5 TTF compile from source. So something like that seems reasonable here. A little bit of a ugly name here. But we are in the directory now. And if I just go ahead and look at what we were doing in this project before, it looked like my package manager was taking care of a lot of the details here. So I was just linking in this library, didn't really have to specify any paths or include directories or anything, super complicated here. In fact, the command I think I might have used to figure out how to install this was apt search, and then if we search like SDL2 TTF, let's see if our package manager can actually find it. And sometimes we got to just kind of search here. TTF, okay, there's a bunch of these true type font things. And eventually I think we'll find lib dev TTF or something like that. In fact, I'm not going to scroll through this too long. Grep, maybe SDL in our results here. Let's see if we find something. So something like this is usually what you would install. Now it looks like on my package manager, this is version 2.11. If we go back to the GitHub, I think this is up to version 2.13 or something like that. That's the quick release that I actually saw back here. It looks like at least 2.12 for Windows. So again, this is another good reason to be able to build things from source. So let's go ahead and do that here. Copy the repository here. I'm going to do a git clone. And let's just go ahead and do this here. So we'll get a SDL TTF library here. And it might take a few moments to compile here. Looks like it's got quite a few files, or my internet is running slow. Again, we're just doing things live here as we figure things out here. Alrighty, so that looks like it's done here. Now, just from a project management standpoint, I would probably want to create a directory here, something like libs or lib or a third party or something like that. So things that I haven't built or have the source code to. So I'm going to move this into the libs directory just to clean up our project just a tiny bit here. Okay, now before I get into actually doing too much stuff here, I actually do want to just compile this project so I can remember what it is here. And we can actually just see what the result should be. So it should be something like this here. So we've got a cool font. So feel free to pick out a cool font from somewhere. Otherwise, you can use the one that I'll push in this directory. Okay, so that's what success will look like in our actual project here. Okay, so let's actually figure out how to build this thing. Let's go into libs, into the SDL TTF. And most of the time, if we're on a Linux directory, I'm looking for things like make files, maybe configure, maybe these sort of things. But I'm always looking for the README first. Okay. So let's go ahead and just see what we have here. So basically this library is a wrapper around another library, the free type library. So I probably need or there probably is some dependency again on true type fonts. So again, I would use this trick here where I search, and let me make this a little bit smaller, app search, maybe free type, something like that, just to see if this library is here. Usually I'm grepping for things like dev, so that I can see the development library. Again, that's just a convention on my system. So I'm probably, let's see, wanting to install, if I just had to make a guess here, let's see. Well, I'm looking for free type based font library, so this might be it here. And again, I would probably Google these things, but that's what I'm looking for. Okay, so let's see what else the README says. Now I know I do have this dependency, but again, that's just how I'm going to search for it. Okay, so we should have that free type library, and then we want to run configure. And usually what configure is doing is it's a build tool that's going to help us appropriately get the right make file for our platform. Okay, so let's go ahead and just follow those directions. And let me go ahead and get us to the right location here. So I'll run configure, and usually just run it just like that. And let's see, it says SDL version 2.0.12 not found. Okay, so this looks like we're going to have to do a little bit more work and actually build SDL, a more modern version here. So we're actually getting, it's finding the default one in my package manager here, but it's requiring us to actually use 2.0.12 here. Okay, so that's actually good. That's a good thing that the configure tool is doing for us. So, well, let's go ahead and just download the SDL2 source. Let's see, it's probably SDL2 GitHub. And let's go ahead and just download the latest, and we're going to have to build this as well. So let's go ahead and move up a directory here. So that's why I've got things nicely separated here. And again, we're just going to, I'm going to just pause the recording, and then I'll join you back when this finishes building. All right, so we downloaded everything there. Let's go into SDL here, and let's do the same thing. Let's find the README file. There's a README MD and a README SDL text. We should read both of them. And okay, that's pretty straightforward. Let's go ahead and take a look at this here. And it tells us to read here for more extensive documentation. So my guess is there's also going to be a configure tool that we have to run. Again, make sure that our dependencies are here. You know, this is a pretty standard thing to do on Linux. If you're on Mac and following these directions, for whoever answered the question, this is probably what you need to be doing. You might have some missing dependencies, so you can just install those. Just try to be careful here. And read the actual error messages, and usually make will do the trick here. Now I'm actually going to cancel this. Let me do make J8, which will do a faster build. Actually, I've got 12 cores on my machine, so let's go ahead and do that. On occasion, this will mess up, so usually what I'll do is, if I try the parallel build there with the make J12, I instead will just try make and make sure that there's no issues with building things in parallel and linking things together. But it looks like everything worked fine here. And usually the last thing that you do is make install. And what that'll do is basically set up the path so that you're using the latest SDL libraries. So let me go ahead and try that. And the common thing that you're going to see here is permission denied. And usually that's because you don't have privileges. So I'm going to do this as a super user here, and it looks like it worked fine. So SDL2 config. Let's see if we can get a little bit more information out of it. Maybe version, and this is telling us we're at 2.021 here. Okay, so we're certainly at a later version here of SDL. Okay, so back to our TTF library problem. Let's go ahead and run configure here. And let's see if this works. Now, sometimes it may or may not work. Let's go ahead and try. Sometimes we get lucky. And this time it looks like it's happy. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is now build the actual library. And let's see here. Now it's complaining here. It says command not found. Aclocal -1.16 is missing on your system. So you should only need it if you modified this and so on. Okay, well let's go ahead and do make clean. Let's try to get rid of everything. Maybe if I rerun configure again, let's see what happens. So it said it worked, and then we'll go to our favorite Google. If it doesn't work, make J12, and it doesn't like this here. So let's just go ahead and Google this message, see if this is a missing dependency. Make something not found. So let's see. Looks like it is a missing library here. Okay, and again, we're just doing this live here. So let's actually just see what aclocal is. Sometimes there's a man page for it. Manual page for 1.15 generates this M4 file by looking at our config. So this is part of the config tool. And it looks like I just need a newer version here of this library. So let's go ahead and see if I can do, again, version. Looks like it's 1.15. And again, let's see, why wasn't it happy? Missing 1.16. So I just need to update this package here. Okay, so again, I don't know how to do this. I don't panic. Let me just bring in another search here. Update aclocal. How to overcome it. I get an error. So my options are probably to find this library and install it. These folks are suggesting before running configure, just try running autoconf force is usually F and then -I. Okay. Oh, I see. It's usually caused by checking out code from Git instead of extracting. Git doesn't prefer file timestamps and so on. Okay, so that's kind of interesting. Let's leave that open. Let's go ahead and give that a try here. So auto reconfigure -F-I. So within this directory, there are a few of these other files here, these ones here. Okay, it says error requires automake, but have 1.15. So same error here. Yeah, it looks like it's just not happy here with this. So, I guess there's a few options to try to skirt around this issue. Again, let's just maybe try to update the tool. That's probably the easiest thing to do. Let's see here. So this is part of Auto Tools and Automake. Okay. And again, I like to always show you the, let's see, app search, aclocal. Let's see if we can find it here. Okay, and it is part of this auto tool. So that's what they're suggesting here. So sudo apt-get install auto tools. And we almost always want the developer version. That gives us all the libraries and source code and all these things that we need here. Okay, so 0 things were upgraded, installed, or removed. So that probably means we didn't get anything new here that we actually need here. I wonder if we try, let's go ahead and do just another search here. Sometimes there's some useful information. Okay, sudo apt. Okay, then try apt-get. Apt-get install aclocal. Let's see. I need sudo permissions. Unable to find package. Again, let's go ahead and search here. Now it's part of the Eclipse Auto Tools. Okay, let me just do another search here. And we need dash version 16. Okay, well, this is going to be the boring part of the video where we just look through again and try to figure out how to install this. And part of the reason I'm doing this also is because, Mac folks might have to install this tool or find something different. So let's go ahead and see package tracker, although we're on a Debian machine here. So my options are to install this from source and build it. Let's see here. Usually we get instructions here. Let's see. So how to, let's go ahead and run update the latest repositories, and then we can try automake, okay? And that might do the trick here. So let's go ahead and just let that run, and then I'll, there it goes. Let's go ahead and give this another try. Automake, it says 28 packages were not upgraded. Okay, it's being a little bit stubborn, so I'm just going to take the binary package here, the thing I know that I need. Run wget, something like that. Now I've got this thing here. I probably want to move it here. Automake here, and let's just move it up a directory here. So these would be sort of the dependencies. Let's go ahead and make a dependencies directory, move automake into the dependencies, and move them here. And this could be some script that downloads all these files or something. That would be fine. So dpackage, automake. Let's go ahead and see. It's going to give us a privilege error here. So I need to be the super user. And it's unpacking, and let's see if we got anywhere here. Let's see what version we have. Now we are up to 1.16 after doing that install. Okay, so I'm pretty happy about that, and I'm confident to give this another try here. So SDL TTF, and let's just go ahead and run configure again, kind of reset everything. So now, allegedly, we have our make file. So let's see. If I do make, it says automake 1.15, command not found, recipe failed here. Okay. Well, it looks like it's complaining about this automake here. So let's go ahead and just do automake here. And I've got 1.16 here. So this is kind of funny. I've got two different versions now. Let's see which ones I have here. So version, looks like both of them are 1.16 here. So it doesn't quite like that here. So let me try this again. Configure. Let's see. So it says it's happy. That's the claim. So if I run make, I get foreign, command not found. Well, let's see. I can either hack this here, or if I find 1.15. Well, I want to use 1.6 now. Now this is a little bit hacky here, what I'm doing. I'm just trying to get this thing to build, though. So let's see if that does the trick here. Okay, version mismatch. Okay, now this is where we're getting into some dangerous territory here. When I'm manually switching the versions here. It doesn't seem to like that. I just need to figure out AM automake comes from. You should recreate AC local M4 with AC local. Okay, AC local. So it looks like I need to rerun that. I've probably broken my make file by the 1.16s, but yeah, let's go ahead and see what happens. Rerun configure. And then rerun make here. Says recipe failed. Okay. Okay, well, let's just, I guess there's a couple approaches here if we need a specific version. Let's let's go ahead and just check out automake 115. So, in these kind of situations where I just get stuck here, I'm probably just going to blow away this entire SDL TTF here and say, well, I've made some changes to some packages. I started mucking around with the actual file here, so let's just actually reclone the library. So I know it's not the closest thing, but sometimes, and this is the part that hurts often to just restart from all this work that we've done here. But again, not familiar with the library. The auto make and these sort of like configure and these tools, these are really for the package maintainers, right? I should just for the most part be able to run these tools and for them to build. So if I'm going in there and messing around with things, that should just be sort of a lesson of like, hey, I'm probably way off base, so let's just try this again from scratch. If I go into the TTF library here, again, run configure, that was step 1. Let's see if it's happy now. And then go ahead and run make here, and well, it looks like less stuff's getting messed up because I have the right tools installed this time. Well, this is promising here, so I'm just going to pause it, and we'll see if it builds when I come back. All right, and that took about 3 minutes on my machine because I just did make instead of make J8, which I probably should have done to speed things up. But again, the last step here, make install, and again, you'll probably get the same error here, complaining about permissions. Again, we need super user permissions. So again, let's a little bit more carefully dissect this here just so you can see what's happening. So this is where I enter the command here. It starts complaining, says, permission denied. So usually that means we need to be the super user. Again, if you're following this on Windows, yeah, it probably means you need to be running your terminal in administrator mode. Mac, you can be a super user as well with sudo and so on. Now it looks like I accidentally put a slash here, so let me just do that again. And it looks like it is happy here. So let's go ahead. It says libraries have been installed, and it actually tells us the directory. So since we've done this now, we should just be able to use or compile our SDL project just like we previously had. Okay, so let me go ahead and just orient us. Let's go ahead back to our main CPP here. This is how we were building everything previously. So let's just copy and paste that, and let's actually just run that in the main directory here. So let's see what happens. Doesn't blow up here. And we get our Mike SDL2 series here. So it seems like it's working here. Now, how can we be sort of confident that this is still working? And, I didn't get lucky because, you didn't see me purge or remove all of these libraries here. So let's just go a little step further. Again, this is sort of unscripted here, but I want to actually look at my libraries here, starting with my SDL here. And let's see if we can actually find where some of these libraries exist here. So actually, what can we do here? Well, we have the SDL2 config tool, or SDL config, SDL2 config. So if I run that, well, it just tells us the actual usage here. Let's see the actual version. Again, this is a 2.21 that we have here. Usually, if you pass in some of the other libs here, let's see if we can actually get help here from the tool. Sometimes they do a better job, sometimes not. It might tell you the actual versions of the libraries here. The other way that we could actually maybe take a peek here is if I run the LDD tool here. Now it'll tell me the different libraries that go into our actual program here. So we're going to have to look through a bunch of these and eventually see, do we find the TTF library here? So let me just grep here, TTF here. And, well, it looks like we have one here from somewhere in user lib x86, TTF, and so on. Okay, I don't know if we're convinced yet that exactly is working. So let's actually just see if we can find that maybe shared library somewhere in our actual build here where we did the install. So let me actually just do make install again. It's going to repeat the error message, so sudo make install. And, well, where did it install everything? Let's see. Let's go ahead and just see here, user/local/lib. Okay, seems reasonable enough to me here. And we can see the reason why I'm repeating this is that you can just see that this is in user local lib. So maybe this is a different location. Maybe there's been some sort of symbolic link for folks who are familiar with that. But basically, I just want to link this library when I compile here in our code to, well, whatever this library is here. So let's actually find it and see if this works here. Oh, we do have the install here. This path here. So cd user local lib. And let's see. Yeah, let's just go ahead and use that here. Okay, so when I actually build, and I did it from this directory here. Let's see if we can link, and if I pass in the full file here, link local. Oops, this should be for the SDL2 TTF library, and I'll link SDL2 as I did previously. No such library found. Okay, let me search for it a little bit here. Again, at this point, it works, or maybe it's working for you, but I just want to find everything and try to show you just another level of what's going on here. So I'm using in user, probably forgot a slash, local, locale, okay. This is probably user slash local. That's why I messed up. Lib. Okay, and let's see. User local lib. And let's see, do we have TTF here? SDL, TTF, it'll be lib something, lib, SDL. Let's see if we can actually find it here. And again, I'm kind of just stumbling along so you can see what's going on here. So no such directory. Let me reorient these. Sometimes it's a little bit easier to find here. If we get lost, I'm just going to keep going into the TTF library here and basically just running sudo make install. I just want to see what that library name was again. And by this point, maybe things are already working for you, so it doesn't even matter. Oops, let me type my password in again. Maybe for a third time. Oh, caps lock was on. Okay. So where was it installed? If you want to link against installed libraries, okay, so specify the full path name of the library, and then use lib directory flag during linking at least one of the following. I see, so I need to use some other environment variables here. Well, I just want to find the actual library here, the SO file. So lib SDL, that's what I'm looking for. Lib slash lib. Okay, SDL2 TTF. Okay, so now I can see where it was actually installed here. Okay, perfect. So if I'm going to compile this from source, I need under lib SDL2 TTF. Let's see if that's enough that it'll find it. Dot. So cannot find. Let me just set the library directory to this path here, and then just link SDL. Okay, and that seems to have done the trick here. So let me go ahead and clean this mess up here and re-explain what happened. So basically, when I run make install, it's telling me where is it copying this file, and it's just creating this thing. It's called a symbolic link. That's usually what the installers are doing. So Mac and Linux users, it'll do this. Or Windows users, maybe it's creating an environment variable or something. And it's saying, okay, we've got this new library, whatever the newest version of libstdlttf is. Found the location here in user local lib. So those are usually things that we build here on Linux. So let me go ahead and close this window. We're done with it. Then I just spent some time looking to find the actual name here of the file. So let me close this down or move it out of the way. And then I just started messing around with the compiler here and basically said, okay, look for libraries in this directory and user local lib, which probably is a compiler path anyways, and then link to SDL2 TTF here. So let's go ahead and just see the full command here and find it. So then it builds. Then maybe if I run LDD, which is a tool to see all the libraries that are linked in here, we should be able to find our TTF library here. Again, there must be some sort of symbolic link, but it looks like it is getting TTF2 here. So we should be good to go here. All right, so hopefully that is helpful for folks. Again, let me just go ahead and run it again so we can actually see what's going on. So that seems good. And hopefully that helped our user submitted question here, so you can actually see if things worked out, and hopefully that helps you compile things from source. And if it doesn't, well, hopefully you're able to see how I wrestle with things a little bit. Even experienced developers often can wrestle with build systems sometimes, but this overall was pretty clean. But you just got to see some of the back and forth, and maybe even this is a good insight into why it's so important that we make it easy to build software for our end users. So if you enjoyed this format, let me know in the comments below. I'm happy to do more of these sort of live coding sessions or truly figuring out things as I figure them out, so you can see what somebody with a little bit of software experience goes through when trying to build software. So anyways, hope you enjoyed that, folks, and thanks for your time. We'll see you in the next one.